Lofty title, but I'm going to give it a go. The main talk is about using technology and a technology called blockchain, which I'll go into, but also how you can link it to people in third world countries and developing world with property rights. So there's around about 3 million that live in extreme poverty and around about 5 million that live in general poverty, and a lot of them seem to fall under what's a term called extra legals, so people that live outside a formal economy and kind of don't own their own property rights. So people that, for example, set up shop outside cities and basically can't go to banks, for example, to access capital. So they can't, if they have a business, they can't go and expand it, all because they don't have these rights. So places that look like this, for example, like favelas and barrios, this is actually in Lima in Peru. And you know, you get entrepreneurs out there that have a business, but they've pretty much got their hands tied behind their back and they can't pretty much expand. So no access to capital, meaning their options are quite limited. Something that looks to deal with this is blockchain, but the big problem is that it's not just happening, you know, it happens in all over across Latin America, it happens all across Asia, and really there's no really alternative for them to go because the bank says no to them. There are alternatives with microfinance, but that's on a very small scale at the moment. I'll just wait for this next slide. So it's called dead capital, and that's a term by an economist called Hernando de Soto, who's done loads of work on this, and he's actually been, well, quite influential in this space, and I'll come on to a bit later where him and a group of guys all come to figure out how they can get around that, and that is through the blockchain. But this is just an example of in Latin America where that kind of pretty much happens in every country, apart from maybe Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay. But everywhere else, it seems to be quite an issue. The company that did this as well, the data is from ILD, Institute of Liberty and Democracy. So if everywhere in the world, everyone was to have their property rights, the value would be $20 trillion. So imagine $20 trillion getting pumped into a world economy. Would that solve poverty? Maybe, maybe not, but it's a big number, and it's something I think is definitely important. So this just shows two graphs how it takes, in Egypt on the left, it takes 6 to 14 years to be able for someone to go and register their property with these systems that just kind of aren't very helpful to other people. And the other one, it takes 207 steps to register your property and also over 9 months to register a business. So think about the time where you have to leave your business and, you know, it's time out of your business, you can't basically do much with that. This is an example, at least, the people, poverty on the streets, but also young people there having no future and having to work for themselves to support their own family. So a lot of people that live in the poor, they think it's the system, which it probably partially is, but the system is not working for them. The thing that when we come on to about the blockchain is this is a technology that could actually, you know, start including people. And so this is the other side, some nice blue sky thinking. Richard Branson invited everyone to Necker Island earlier this year and invited all the world top thinkers to kind of discuss how they could fight big issues, one of them being global poverty. And this is the blockchain, which one guy suggested. So you may know Bitcoin. The technology that underlines Bitcoin, it does all these other things, and it's called a blockchain. Basically, it's like a decentralized system that can be used to kind of make things more efficient and in government and in a lot more. At the moment, you've got Honduras and Georgia. They're kind of testing it out. Georgia hasn't really got too much of a problem with property rights, but they just want to be seen as a forward-thinking government, so that's why they're going ahead with this. And Honduras does have a problem with it, so that's why they're looking into it as well. The UK have actually gone ahead and put a lot of money into it, put 10 million research to kind of see how distributed ledger technology can work, and they've managed to find some findings, and it's an ongoing process at the moment, so hopefully something will happen with that. Another thing I do think is it's kind of like after every industrial revolution, you get waves of innovation. Blockchain seems to tick all the boxes, with it being sustainable, you know, a whole system design, something that's quite new and something that will actually add a lot of benefits, and if it was to be implemented. This is just an example of, you know, reducing costs, making things more efficient. There's a amount of different types of resort uses it can go under. It's pretty endless, and that's why it takes a lot of research to figure out what it actually can be used for. Coming back to, you know, in Liverpool, where we see poverty, you know, every day, and child poverty and homelessness, the question really that I want to pose is how can we use this blockchain technology in the UK, but also globally, to kind of, you know, make or alleviate poverty in a certain sense for Liverpool and you know, everywhere in the world really. So thanks for that.
It's the other of the DJ.